My husband started hiding his phone whenever I walked into the room. I finally looked at his screen, and my whole perspective on our marriage changed. For the last 3 months, my husband, James, had become a shadow of the man I married. He was always a focused person, but lately, that focus was entirely directed at his phone. Every time I entered the living room, he would quickly flip the screen over or slide it into his pocket. At dinner, he was distracted, answering my questions with short, distant nods while his thumb constantly hovered over his messages. I tried to ignore it, telling myself he was just stressed with his new project at the firm, but the secrecy was starting to feel like a physical barrier between us. I began to fear that the man I trusted most in the world was quietly building a life that didn't include me anymore. The doubt reached its breaking point last night. James had fallen asleep on the couch, and for the first time in weeks, his phone was sitting face up on the coffee table. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears as I reached out to grab it. I felt a wave of guilt wash over me, but the need to know the truth outweighed my shame. I bypassed the lock screen and opened his most recent messages. I expected to find another woman or a secret bank account. Instead, I found a long thread of messages with a landscape architect and dozens of photos of a small, overgrown plot of land on the edge of the city. I scrolled through the messages, my eyes filling with tears as the truth began to emerge. James hadn't been hiding a betrayal. He had been secretly purchasing and restoring the old, abandoned community garden where my grandmother used to take me when I was a child. He knew how much I mourned that place after it was closed down years ago, and he was spending every spare minute coordinating with contractors to surprise me with the deed for our 10th anniversary. He was hiding his phone because he was terrified I would see the blueprints for the flower beds he was naming after me. I realized then that his silence wasn't a sign of him leaving, but a sign of how deeply he was working to bring my favorite childhood memory back to life.